Paraktes is a very interesting chapter. It might remind you of Pesach a little bit. Okay, let's go. Vayikra ba'aznei kol gadol ba'aznai kol gadol lemor karvu pekudos ha'ir v'ish kli mashcheso biyado. So Hashem called loudly in my ears, and he said, approach who are in charge of the city, each bearing his weapon of destruction. He's calling these malachim. Shisha anashim ba'im miderech sha'ar ha'elyon asher mafnet zafona v'ish kli mifatso biyado. V'ish echa b'socham levush badim v'kesas hasofer b'masnav v'yavo v'yamdu etzel mizbeach hanachosha. So six of these they're described as people. We'll call them figures. They came through the upper gate, which faces to the north. He has some sort of staff or a club in his hand. Among them, there was another one who was clothed in linen with a writing case at his waist. And they came forward and they stopped at the Mizbeach Hanachoshes in the Beis HaMikdash. Ukvod Elohei Yisrael Na'aleh Me'al HaKruv. And now the presence of Hashem, remember, he was on top of, Hashem is like riding on the Kruvim, Asher Haya Alav Al Miftan Habayis, Ve'ikra El Ha'ish, Halavush Habadim, and Hashem calls out to that one individual who's wearing the linen, Asher Keses Asofer B'Asnav. He's got like his writing implements with him. Vayomer Adonai Elav, Avor b'toch ha'ir b'toch Yerushalayim. I want you to go all throughout the city of Yerushalayim. V'hit v'ta tav al mitzchos ha'anashim hanenachim. And I want you to make a mark of the letter tes on all of those people who are groaning. V'hanenakim al hatoivos hanasus b'socha. So if you remember, last time we had this tour through the Beis HaMikdash of all the disgusting, abominable acts that people were doing in the Beis HaMikdash. So now Hashem says, look, go around and find the tzaddikim who are just as upset about this as I am, and make a mark. You angel, make a mark on their forehead, the letter Taf. We're going to talk about all of this momentarily. And then to the other ones he says, go around the city, go and wipe everybody out. The assumption here is the people you're not going to wipe out is anyone who has the letter marking on their forehead. Okay?
You said Tav in the pasuk?
Tav, right?
Tav. That's the mark. Is it Tav?
Yeah, so we're going to get to the letter and which alphabet we're going to use in just a minute. That's why they're being marked. The ones that are
they're being marked like a tree.
Like a tree?
When they mark the tree,
yeah. No, everyone else is getting cut down. You don't have to worry about who's going to get cut down. They're all going to get cut down, except hopefully the people who have this mark on them.
Because they're as disgusted as you are.
Right. They're the ones who are bemoaning all of the terrible things that were happening. Zakim bachur b'tula v'taf nashim taharugu l'mashchit v'al kol ish asher alat hatav al tigashu. So you can kill off everybody, young and old, the young girls, the men, the women, everybody. But the people that have the tav al tigashu, don't touch the people that have the mark on their heads. And start with the Beis HaMikdash. Start here, says the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and then move outwards. And so they began with the elders who were right there in front of the Beis HaMikdash. Vayomar alehem. And now they finished, okay, very fast. Vayomar alehem tamu et habayis umalu et hachatzeros chalalim tzeu v'yatzu v'hiku ba'ir. And they've already defiled the Beis HaMikdash. So go out from the Beis HaMikdash where there's a whole bunch of dead now, and now you can go out into the city and wipe out those people as well. Vayik hayosam v'nishar ani. So this is kind of shocking. They finish all of their murdering, and the only one that is left is Yechezkel, who is not even really there, right? If you remember, he was brought by his payas. He's seeing all this, it would seem, through a vision, meaning there is no one who was left. There is no one who had the tav put on their forehead. V'afela al panai v'zak v'omer ha Adonai Elohim hamashchis ata es kol she'eris Yisrael b'shafkecha es chamascha al Yushalayim. So Yechezkel basically flings himself in front of Hashem. He says to Hashem, "You're going to annihilate all that's left of Yisrael, pouring out your fury on Yerushalayim. V'yomer Elai avon beis Yisrael v'Yehuda gadol b'me'od me'od." And the answer comes back: their sin is insane. It's very, very great. V'timalei ha'aretz damim. The land is filled with blood. V'ha'ir meleah muta. And the city is completely corrupt. Ki amru azava Adonai es ha'aretz ve'ein Adonai ro'eh. Because they thought God has left. God's not seeing. So why should we care? We'll do whatever we want. And Hashem says, I'm not going to have any compassion. There's no more pity. I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve. And now you have the guy who's got the writing utensil. He's Meshib Avar Lemor Asisi Kechol Asher Tzibisani. I've done everything that you have commanded me, he says. That might remind you of the declaration we make when we bring the Bikurim, Asisi Kasher Tzivisani. So just a few points to point out in this parak. To me, all the different people that are being described over there, which we're going to assume are malachim, it's very similar, I think, to what we get in Zechariah. We haven't done Zechariah yet, but the first couple of parakim Zechariah, there's I think some overlap in the language. It seems that nobody was spared, which is a crazy thing to think about. This is actually also only the second time in the entire book that we've gotten a direct quote from Yechezkel. The first time Yechezkel spoke was when he complained about not wanting to eat the bread cooked over the human feces. This is now only the second time where Yechezkel actually has said anything. It makes sense that the mark, the tav, was the Paleo Hebrew script. That's the original Hebrew before it was changed to the Assyrian font. The tav over there looks like either a plus sign or the letter X. Here's Paleo Hebrew and then Assyrian, the square script. Two things. Well, a few things that are interesting about that. The Kohen Gadol is anointed, says the Gemara in Krisus.
The oil and
right, right, with the tav. Right, kamin. The Gemara describes it as kamin ki, which is the Greek letter chi, and X. Right. Oh yeah. So this is actually a quote from the Gemara. The kings get anointed like a crown. V'yasa kohanim kamin ki. Amar of Menashe kamin ki yavani. Right. That's the letter X. The Rambam in Yesodei HaTorah 10:4 lists this incident as unique in the history of the Jewish people. It's the only time where there's a positive prophecy. Mark the X on people who should not be killed, right? So there's an assumption. There are some people there who are not going to get killed, right? Normally we say if there's a positive prophecy, it will never be revoked. There's got to be someone who's going to get saved. There was no one who was saved. The Rambam there says to see the Gemara in Shabbos, and that's 55a.
Who's marking them again?
The angels going around marking them. Just as a sort of interesting.
They're going to make mistakes.
Right. You know exactly who you're going after or who you're not going after. Rabbi Kapach believes that there's something wrong with this Rambam because the Rambam never cites this. This is like the one time in all of Rambam where he cites his sources. So Rabbi Kapach, who was a Taimani scholar, believes that this is like a copyist who added that in. The Gemara that the Rambam references in Shabbos has a very non-standard reading of this parsha, and I think part of the reason is because there's some conflict with our co-religionists over here. The Christians wanted to use this chapter to emphasize their religious symbol. They say, look, the cross is a sign of salvation because God said put a tav, which was the plus sign or the X, and those are the people who are going to be saved. So you see that the cross is a valid religious symbol, and that's why the Gemara basically tries to change the simple reading of the pasuk so that it's not something that the Christians can use to support their ideas. Well, I think we have time to do one more parak because it's short. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. This is parak yud. V'hinei Al haraki asher al rosh hakruvim ke'evan sapir kamara demus kisei nir'a alehem. So now we're back in Merkava territory. So I looked, and the expanse over the heads of the kruvim, there was something like a sapphire stone. Again, you're going to get this. It sort of looked kind of like a sapphire stone, an appearance resembling a throne could be seen over them. Vayomer el ha'ish levush abadim vayomer bo el benos legalgal el tachas lekruv umalach afnecha gachle eish. So Hashem speaks to this the figure that we had who's wearing linen, and he says, "Step inside the galgal, the wheels under the kruvim, and I want you to grab coals, glowing coals, mi beinos la kruvim uzrok al ha'ir vayavo le'inai, and then scatter them over the city." And Yechezkel's watching this whole thing play out, in stunned. V'hakruvim omdim mimin labayis bevo ha'ish ve'anan malei es hachatzer hapnimis, and the kruvim are standing on the south side of the Beis HaMikdash, and the figure enters, and there's now a cloud that fills the inner court. Stop me when this sounds like a ritual that we are all familiar with. Vayaram kavod Adonai me'al hakruv al miftan habayis, and now God leaves the presence of Hashem Kavayachol moves from the kruvim to the platform of the Beis Hamikdash v'yimalei habayis es hanan, and now the entire Beis Hamikdash is filled with this cloud. Ve'chatzer malei es noga kavod Adonai, and the court, the chatzar of the Beis Hamikdash, is filled with the glowing honor of Hashem, the presence of Hashem. The kol kanfei akruvim nishma ad hachatzer, and you can hear the sound. Remember, we said before that the sound of the wings of the kruvim is like rushing waters, many waters. That sound could be heard as far as the chatzar chitzona, the outside courtyard. Kol el shaddai b'dabro, and it sounds like Hashem Kaviyachol when he is speaking. Vayhi betzavoso es ha'ish levush abadim lemor kach eish mi beinos lagalgal. Now Hashem has commanded this person who's wearing the linen take the fire from by the kruvim, by their wheels, mi beinos la kruvim v'yavo v'yamod eitzel ha'ofen. And now I want you to go stand by the ofen is a type of wheel. Vaishlach hakruv es yado mi beinos la kruvim, and the kruv stretches out its hand from between the kruvim el ha'esh asher beinos hakruvim, which is to grab the coal, the fire between the kruvim. Vayisav yitain el chafnei levush habadim v'yikach v'yetzei, and he hands that coal out to the person, the individual, I guess, who's wearing the linen, who takes it out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Vayera lakruvim tavnis yad adam tachas kanfeim, and Yechezkel can now see that there's something that looks like the hand of a human under the wing of the kruv. V'hinei arba ofanim eitzel hakruvim. By each of the kruvim there are these four wheels. Ofen echad eitzel hakruv echad, v'ofen echad eitzel hakruv echad. We had the same description back in chapter 1. Umara ofanim kein even tarshish, and these the wheels look like beryl stone. Marim demus echad la'arbasan, and each one had the same form in all four sides. Kasher ya ofen betocha ofen, like a wheel inside of a wheel. V'lechtan el arbas riv'ehem yelchu lo yisabu b'lechtam ki hamakom asher yifne harosh acharav yelchu lo yisabu b'lechtam. Remember, they don't change, they don't turn to move in any direction. They're omnidirectional. Wherever they want to go, they can go, because they have faces facing in each of the directions. And all of them, their entire bodies, backs, hands, wings, everything is covered with eyes. Saviv la'arbasan ofanehem, all of the wheels are covered with eyes. Ofanim lahem korah hagagal ba'aznai, and it's these wheels that I'm calling them, says Yechezkel, the galgal. They're called wheels. V'arba panim la'achad pnei echad pnei hakruv. Remember, they have four faces. One of them is the face of a kruv, u'pnei hasheni pnei adam. The second one is the face of a man. Shlishi is pnei aryeh. The third is the face of a lion. V'arvi pnei nasher, and the fourth is the face of an eagle. How is this different than what we saw in chapter 1?
There's no ox.
Correct. What's instead of the ox?
Baby.
The kruv.
Yeah, the angel baby.
Right. V'yeromu hakruvim isha chaya asher ra'isi b'nahar kfar. These kruvim that went up, those are the ones that I saw, says Yechezkel, back in Nahar Kfar. very beginning of this book. ובלכתם הקרובים ילכו אופנים אצלם ובשעיס הקרובים אסכנפיהם לרום מעל הארץ לא יסבו אופנים גם הם מאצלם. When the kruvim went, the wheels went along with them, and when the kruvim lifted their wings to go up off of the ground, the wheels didn't roll away; they stayed right near them. Ba'amdam yamdu uberomam yaromu osam ki ruach achaya bahem. Whenever they stopped, the wheels also stopped with them. Whenever they moved, the wheels would go along with them because the spirit of the chaya was with them. So the presence of Hashem left that platform of the Beis Hamikdash and stopped by the kruvim. The kruvim now lift up their wings. And now they're up off of the ground, right before my eyes. Says Yechezkel, now they are leaving. The presence of God in some way, shape, or form is above these kruvim that are now off of the ground. This is the vision. This is the chaya, the creature that I saw way back in chapter 1 when I was describing this vision by Nahar Kvar ve'edaki kruvim hema. Now I know that those things that I described before and I couldn't tell, I had no idea like what they were even called. They're kruvim. Arba'a panim le'echad. Each one has 4 faces. V'arba knafayim le'echad, and then there's 4 wings. U'demus yidei adam tachas kanfeim. They have human hands underneath their wings. U'demus pneihem hema hapanim asher ra'isi al nahar kvar. And the faces are like the faces that I saw by the river of Kvar. This is back in Bavel. Mareim va'osam ish el aver panav yelechu, and they would go in whichever way the face was facing. So what is happening over here? The first thing that is happening is that in chapter 1, Yechezkel saw a prophecy. God is going to leave. In chapter 10, Yechezkel is seeing actuality. God is leaving. The presence, the Shekhinah, whatever he's describing over here, which we don't understand, it's actually happening. Before he saw it was going to happen, there was warnings, there was him experiencing what that's gonna be like, the impact it's gonna have. Now it's actually taking place, and he's witnessing it firsthand. The first half of the chapter with the coals and all of that, I believe that's very similar to what happens in the Beis Hamikdash on Yom Kippur. Right, you have the Kohen who's wearing linen, and he goes into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and he has the coals, and he makes the cloud of smoke. Right, there's a lot of overlap in the language over there. The Gemara mentions that the coals actually had a chance to cool down for like 6 years between when Yechezkel saw this vision and when it actually happened, and they were expelled from Yerushalayim. I think that is enough for us at this point, and we will, please God, pick up with chapter 11 next time.
You still have